We don't know the exact amounts that are going to happen in the future. We try and base it on the analysis of what's happened to date, as well as the knowledge of assessing, in particular as it relates to the MTT. So those are also some estimates in the statements. On page 5, the second paragraph, we do have to report out that we did have a number of misstatements that we identified and we made journal entries for, so that's commented on in this letter. We talked about that in the other letter with respect to adjusting journal entries. On page 7, these would be some more minor items that we identified. A couple things to note. At the top there, we talk about the allocations of charges to other funds. So we do have charges for administrative costs to water and sewer, to TIFA, and it's fine to do that. Within reason, but we want to make sure that there's always an analysis there that kind of supports the level of services that are provided to those different funds, which there is something that's in place. I think that's something that should be revisited, in particular as we've continued to downsize, responsibilities are getting aggregated, and so maybe there's some additional things that we're doing now on behalf of those other funds that we should consider charging to those funds. So I think that's something we should revisit pretty frequently.
Do you have something specific in mind?
Well, for example, we centralized some of the purchasing area, and so is there anything that's changed there in terms of the structure or the process that we're spending more time now on TIFA-related or water and sewer-related procurement? If there is, we should be taking a look at that and allocating a portion of the time of the individuals and a portion of the overhead, as part of that charge to those funds.
And we're not doing that right now?
No, we are doing that. It's just to continue to look at it, to see, make sure we're not shorting ourselves, and make sure we're not too high at the other side as well.
Okay.
So that's really just more of a recommendation. We didn't see any issues.
And so maybe we can increase some of the costs to help us. Some of those other departments.
The other one, which is in the middle of the page, the Wayne County chargeback. So we talked about that.
Okay, so I'm sorry.
Please.
An example of that would be the with the call center. The CRMs. I mean, we could certainly sit down and go through the report and see how many calls come in related to water and sewer, how many calls come in related to DPW, that's rubbish, animal shelter, compost.
Yes.
How many come in towards road repairs, fixtures. We can, through the reporting through the CRMs, we can percentage all of that and determine what that allocation is. My guess is, based on what I understand the calls coming in, very little of that's going to come in to really deal with the clerk's office, the treasurer, the certain general fund expenses are really going to be based on the special revenue funds that are really going to be.
Have we done that?
Haven't at this point in time, but again, remember when we created it, we increased a little bit of the chargebacks to them for administrative overhead, saying that.
But I'm saying that so far we're just getting mostly coming out of general fund.
We'll do that. No, we're bringing in those reimbursements through those special revenue accounts. It's all being paid out of the general fund, but it's showing us.
But we're getting a reimbursement.
And I think what he's saying, we can look at that and see if it needs to be tweaked and get into the budget within this before this next budget cycle.
Yeah, I think my question is,